Welcome back. Well, yes, indeed, we're going to be discussing Plateau security and then eventually extension. We've got Dan Mangjang. He's the Commissioner for Information, Plateau State, joins us on the line. Good morning, and thank you for joining us on the program today.
Thank you. Good morning, gentlemen, and good morning, Nigeria.
Well, yes, indeed, shocking, and many just looking to see how they can ensure that this is addressed squarely. And yeah, press releases and certain actions are being taken by the state government. But if you could just bring us up to speed. Yesterday, we saw several people who were not happy, protests before the press release came through. What is the state's government currently doing at the moment?
Yes, thank you very much. The people have every right to be aggrieved, to be angry, to be annoyed, not to be happy with the situation that is happening. But I can assure you that as a state government, everything that is humanly possible that we need to do within the ambits of the law, we are trying to do. And some of those things is the curfew that was put in place, to be able to let the security take charge of the place and to further safeguard lives and property. We have put curfew in place. We sent the security people to the area. The Commissioner of Police and the GOC 3rd Armored Division and all the security agencies have been on top of, have been doing very well, have been very, very helpful. Even the detachment of mobile police that were sent to Abuja are enforcing, and that is what we have been able to do. The corpses that you see that were taken to the Plateau State House of Assembly and then dumped at the end of the day, dumped at the government house in Little Redfield, where we evacuated them to the mortuary, and this morning there are plans to go and bury them. While the peace building agency continues with talking to warring communities, community leaders, who talk to warring communities, and anything that is proactive towards forestalling any future occurrences. As a people, we are doing it. What people should understand is that we are not happy about even an animal that is killed wrongly. The state governor is not happy. There's nobody right-thinking Plateau person is happy, because this matter has taken us so many years backwards.
Now, could you tell us, I mean, what actually went wrong? Because if people thought that these clashes or any of these killings or whatever could lead to this kind of scenarios have been addressed, how did it occur again?
Yes, well, it is not something that anybody has control about. It's not something that you would say until investigation is done. The onus rests squarely on those that are doing the investigation. When they do the investigation, we would now know what actually went wrong. But what went wrong is that people were killed, people's property were destroyed. And so we don't want to, like we said during the past week, we don't want to stereotype people. The most important thing is that arrests have been made, and from when these people are interrogated, probably we'll get confessional statements, and we would actually know whether there are collaborators and whether there are perpetrators. But as it is now, what went wrong is that human beings, it's man's inhumanity to man. And like we did say in the past week, it's an activity of criminal elements, and it is an extension of those criminal elements that has manifested itself into this gory situation that we have found ourselves as a people and as a state. When we have celebrated the coming back of peace for about 6 years now, it's rather unfortunate, but it's part of it is inhumanity to man and criminal elements that are involved, so that they can loot people's property and probably occupy their enclave where their places of abode.
Well, we're seeing pictures of burnt houses. I mean, So if the goal was to even occupy that property, for example, the house has been burned, as it were. But, I mean, it's good you're given insight so Nigerians can understand what is really at play here. Because a lot of people, I mean, they know in Plateau, they don't exactly know what's happening. All they see are reports and, you know, very sad images coming out from there. This is not the first attack we've had in Jos North specifically. And yes, this attack is the latest, but we've had series of attacks, or attacks. I mean, that's the term in previous times. I would like to know what was found out concerning those previous attacks. Some might say this is isolated or this is related. Well, that's still left for investigation. But for the ones that happened before now, what did you find out? What resolutions came from the findings?
Well, you know, these attacks are one too many. They are one too many, and even in the past, we have had commissions of inquiry set up, and these commissions of inquiry, the white papers are there. The Nikki Toby Commission of Inquiry was set up. The Bola Ajibola Commission of Inquiry was set up, and there are white papers to those commissions of inquiries. For the recent attack, investigation is still being done. What it was found out depends on information that will be given to us by the Commissioner of Police of Plateau State. And you know, the issues keep coming, and we would, if you would spare me, we should be able to try to find out from him. But as time goes on, because these attacks have been one too many, profiling today, another attack tomorrow, another profiling, another attack. There are weapons that have been found in the hands of some of these people that have been profiled. There are some of the people that have been on bail. Some community leaders have been on bail. They have been fingered in some of these attacks, and their bail conditions are being revised. And so, as time goes on, we will unravel exactly, because there should be no sacred cow, and this government would be more than happy to make sure that we find a lasting solution, in fact, a permanent solution to this situation.
Well, is there any specific incident or attack that happened in the past that was unraveled such that a proper resolution was found? I think this is quite important because, I mean, maybe that one, you could learn from that one, pick some points from that one to apply to this one. So if you could just tell us, is there any attack in the past that happened, some investigation went on, arrests were made, maybe prosecutions, and you dealt with that fully?
Yes, I can tell you, even if on the part of government, I'm speaking on the part of government, government, in the first place, when an attack is done, a commission of inquiry is set up. What government needs, the findings are not an end in itself. The findings can only make meaning when a government white paper is issued. And government white papers have been issued in the past. We have had situations whereby there are indictments on the part. And you know, when government white paper is issued, there are various levels of implementation. Government has done its part by issuing the white paper. I know of the Nikki Toby Commission of Inquiry, whereby a commissioner of police was indicted, and it was recommended that he should be relieved of his position. But at the end of the day, to our chagrin as a state, the man was promoted to be an Inspector General of Police at the end of the day, even when government had written against that effect. The commission, the white papers are still there. What government needs to do, individuals need to implement, the security needs to implement, the courts need to implement, government needs to initiate actions, and the initiation of action is the fact that it has been able to provide the enabling environment by even coming out with the white paper in the first place. And so the other arms that need to prosecute should do the needful and make sure that they step in. It is not possible that government will implement everything that is said in the white paper. Whatever that pertains government to do is what government has done. Other arms of government should be able to take over from there.
In other words, because the way it comes across is that you're saying that you're not exactly satisfied with the performance of what security agencies, because these lapses that you have just highlighted are in one way or the other contributing to this problem. Is that what you're saying?
Of course, if there is no justice, there will be reoccurrence. What has happened is that laws have to be. If you see an issue happening, then it means that the laws are not being applied. It means that there are sacred cows. We have had in the past, in the life of this state. At that time, I was media advisor. We have had instances whereby criminal elements were intercepted. About 16 of them from another state. They were carrying weapons. They were arraigned before. They were being investigated, being arraigned by the courts, and before you know it, these case files were transferred to Abuja, and that was the end of it. And this is the kind of thing that that happens, and it doesn't give people hope. So the issue of the fact that we are not satisfied, we as an individual and as a government, we are not satisfied. How can we be satisfied when people are being killed on the daily basis, and the agencies of government, individuals that are supposed to do the needful, the white papers are there. Government has taken decision, has taken responsibility, coming up with the white paper, and then funny things keep happening. This is the reason. Unless people are punished, unless there is justice, we will continue to have reoccurrence, because we must work in a way that we will have will punish, and it will serve as a deterrence to others. And more so, the state government of Simon Bakola Long has come up with far-reaching laws to make sure that this issue is arrested. For example, he has signed into law the anti-land grabbing law, and now that the law is there, signed by His Excellency, we enjoin Plateau people to take advantage of the law and seek to go back and occupy their lands by seeking redress in the appropriate quarters of government. What government needs to do, it has provided the enabling environment for people to act. Government cannot provide the enabling environment and then tomorrow it will go and then do what you are supposed to do. Even God doesn't operate like that. There are things that we as human beings need to do, and then God will now step in.
Wait, this land grabbing that you speak about, could you shed a little more light? Is it that, or are you referring to those who were displaced from their land? Is that termed land grabbing, for which they can leverage on this law?
Of course, when your land is taken from you, and then somebody occupies it, that is what it means. Essentially, in a nutshell, that is what it means, that people have been displaced, communities have been displaced. The state government has risen up to the challenge by providing the enabling law. And so the state government has a limit to how it can go to do what the communities are supposed to do. And so for providing the enabling law alone is a huge leap, and it's a huge progress that has been made by government. That is the situation, that everybody has to, all hands must be on deck, so that we make sure that we keep Plateau State safe, so that we make sure that we accommodate one another. If there is a problem, like we have isolated, that there was no law to allow you to go back and claim your land, the enabling law is now available. You take advantage of it. So that is what we are saying, that there has been communities that have been displaced and their lands occupied. And the government has provided the enabling law for them to go and seek redress and go to court and then take over from there. This is what we are saying as a government.
So for the benefit of those trying to place what is the root cause of this? Are you saying essentially this is about land grabbing and the effects of that?
This is one of it, because everywhere you would see that there is pressure on the land. Land does not increase, human beings increase, animals increase. The only human resource that does not increase is land. And we continue to have call it a farmer-header clash. But all we are saying, and then it has now added, the dimension that this has added is the criminal element of it. People go, they would want to take advantage. The cattle rustling is there, kidnapping is there. Whatever that people would do to make money, they take it and join it. I can assure you that, I can tell you that memory lane, there are instances that we had even political undertones with this. We had a local government election in this state, and then churches, and then it became religious because churches and mosques were born. But the dimension to which these crises are happening this time around are not religious, are not ethnic, are not political, but are purely an act of criminality. And criminals have criminality is not alien to any religion, is any tribe. Criminals are united in their criminality, and that is what it is that we have been able to isolate. And so, government has to be fair, people have to be fair, every hand must be on deck to make sure that we live together. There is nowhere that we will go as Plateau people. This is the state that we have, and we must put our hands on deck to make sure that we salvage this state and make it habitable, like it was done in the past 6 years.
You know, just recently the governor met with the president, and he was quite hopeful. I mean, that was before this attack, that the curfew would be lifted. That's the curfew that came as a result of the attack, the killing of those travelers earlier on. And then we had this attack, and then another curfew has been reimposed. The question is, how effective have curfews been? Or let me just rephrase this. What happens during curfews? I know movement is restricted, but beyond that, what does the government do? I don't know. What are the kind of things that you do, maybe to calm frayed nerves, to bring people together and the rest during these curfews, just so we can know whether this is a strategy that works?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I would say that we were on the verge of relaxing this curfew when this matter happened. We almost had released a statement that the curfew was relaxed, and then this matter came. And so, back to your question by saying when you put a curfew, what happens? First of all, is for those that are saddled with the security, with keeping the peace, to be able to take charge. Secondly, is to be able to reduce to the barest minimum the escalation of the crisis. Thirdly, is to be able to give the people a sense of security of their lives and property. I know people would say, of what use this curfew? In the curfew, there have been attacks, but I would assure you, without the curfew, the extent of damage, the escalation of the carnage would have been worse than that, and we would have almost not had a Plateau state today if we were to allow everybody to go about his duties the way they wanted. If you saw during the EndSARS period, the escalation of the crisis did not have any bounds, and so the curfew has helped the situation. By 6 o'clock, 5:30, everybody is rushing to his home, and that helps to control movement. Even though I agree that some people use the curfew period to take undue advantage of it, but like I said, the area in place under curfew has been occupied by the security with the enforcement from Abuja, and that has helped our situation so much. Okay. I wouldn't have imagined if there was no curfew what would have happened on the city of Jos and the entire state. It is possible that the entire state might have even been engulfed with this crisis.
Well, we understand that the state government is embarking on what you describe as this peace-building initiative. Is it working?
The peace-building initiative is working. It's working because the peace-building agency, since it came, as a result of the initiative of the peace-building agency that we have enjoyed peace for the past 6 years or thereabout. There's also recently, not too long ago, the state government set up the Inter-Religious Council, something that has not been there for the past 5-6 years. It was set up, and it is on the Inter-Religious Council is now sitting. They have parleyed with His Excellency. He has given them definite assignments to go back and talk to their adherents, to go back and fashion out ways that would come out of this quagmire. And I can tell you that without the peace-building initiative, it would have been worse. There was even the peace-building agency, in conjunction with other NGOs, like the NGO of Matthew Weir and Ashafa, came and we even established a forgiveness garden in Zaria Terrace that is being taken care of by the STF. And the forgiveness garden, if you have, and we have a day that has been set aside as a public holiday, a day of forgiveness, whereby everybody that is aggrieved or that has offended any other would go and ask for forgiveness from his fellow brother in that garden. It has been working. For the past 6 years, we have not known any kind of crisis at this dimension, even though there have been pockets of isolation, pockets of attacks, but the peace-building initiative has worked, because other states have even come to copy our own initiative, and it's working for them. Without the peace-building initiative in Plateau State, we would have been, if you saw the level of investment in hospitality in Plateau State, because of that initiative, you would know that indeed we came back to the acronym of the Home of Peace and Tourism.
All right, Mr. Dan Manjan, Commissioner for Information, Plateau State, we do hope that all of the efforts yield much more fruits than currently is going on. Thank you very much indeed for your time this morning.
Thank you so much.
All right, well, back in a moment. Don't go away.